Welcome back. This is the third session in which we are discussing about uh, the corporate communication, introductory part of corporate communication. In this session, we are going to discuss about the flow of communication and the different types of communication which fall under corporate communication. So, if we discuss about the flow of communication, in an organization, the communication flows uh, in three ways. Number one, the horizontal and vertical flow. Number two, formal and informal flow. And number three, internal and external flow. So, what is this uh, vertical flow and horizontal flow? So, the vertical flow means when an organization, when the communication occurs between the superior and the subordinate, bosses and subordinate, it is called vertical flow of communication. So, mostly the superior or bosses give instructions to the subordinate, and the subordinate gives the feedback, gives submit the reports. This kind of communication is known as vertical communication. Then horizontal communication happens when the communication is made uh, between parallels. So it is also known as peer to peer. So say for example, in any department, one colleague is communicating with another person in the department, or it can be also cross functional department. So marketing people are communicating to finance people are communicating to HR people. So the important thing is that the communication is not a boss and subordinate kind of communication. It is communication between parallels. So it may one person has has to work like has to pass some information because they are working in teams. So there may be teams may be of cross functional, team may be of the same department. So when people are working in team, they have to communicate to each other. That is peer to peer communication. Hmm. So also it is known as horizontal flow of communication. Then the second category of communication is formal and informal flow. So formal flow means when the communication is made using predefined channels of the organization, like notices, like memos. So it is documented. So these are official communication. You can also say these are official communications. So they are typically conveyed from top leadership to various departments, uh, which further funnels down to other lower level employees. Mm. So there may be instructions, there may be notices, memos. So all these formal or official communications are based on procedures, uh, and this kind of communication is made to achieve the goal of the organization. Uh, so this is formal communication, whereas the informal communication is there is no there is no any official things attached to these communications. So it is more relational than official or formal. Hmm. So it is not backed by any predetermined channel. It can happen anywhere in within the organization. So like people from marketing are discussing with finance department people because they are having friendship with each other. So they are having some discussion which is not official. Uh, so primary goal of this uh, communication is to preserve and establish a relationship with the colleagues and superior and subordinate. So the more the purpose of this communication is building and maintaining relationship among the members of the organization. Hmm. So as this is not defined by any channels, so communication moves a bit faster because it is not documented. So without any paper trail, without any documentation. So one example of informal communication is also known as grapevine communication. Grapevine communication. So this is formal and informal. Then we can classify communication as internal communication and external communication. So internal communication means the communication happening at various layers of management. So communication linking employees internally to each other. So, so it is internal within the organization. We can say communication happening within the organization, and external means communication uh, is going to external audiences. Hmm. So organization is communicating with some target groups which are external to the organization. So for customers, for some kind of investors, these are external parties. Then government, any kind of resource holders. So when an organization is communicating with these kind of people, these kind of groups, this is an example of external communication or external flow of communication. So there are three types of communication, like management communication, marketing communication, and organizational communication. So coming down to first management communication means the management of the organization means management means all employees, all people who are holding some kind of authority, who are having some kind of discretionary power, means ability to take decision. So such kind of people are known as management ma- people having managerial positions. So they have to these kind of people have to communicate with internal audiences as well as external audiences. Why they have to communicate? They have to convince internal as well as external audiences to achieve the goal of the organization, or they communicate to achieve the goal of the organization. They have to persuade these kind of audiences to achieve the goal of the organization. So now let's understand how managers and why managers have to communicate, because communication is one of the most you can say important skill. So the reasons of communication is number one, to gain the acceptance for the organizations. So until and unless the your target audience accept the mission, vision, and objective of the organization, it becomes difficult for them to operate. So they have to the managers have to convince that the the audience must accept the organization's goal, then develop a shared vision. So every organization has some kind of mission, some kind of vision, and that mission and vision must be shared, must be accepted by the target audience. It may be internal, it may be audience, it may be external, so that they work in the same direction. Then the third one is to establish and maintain trust in the organization's leadership. So different layers of the organization, they work to they communicate, and that to and that work towards creating an environment uh, in which trust is there, so that every person's uh, have faith and trust in the leadership, in the mission, in the vision, and in the goal of the organization. And the last and very important thing is that managers have to initiate and manage changes in the organization. And to manage changes, sometimes it becomes very tricky and very difficult, because people don't want to change. So bring out any change in the organization, the managers, the leaders, they have to establish confidence, establish trust, and for that they have to communicate. So even sometimes communication specialists are hired, are required, which can help the organization to communicate effectively with the target audience. So that is first kind of communication, and the second one is the organizational. So first one was management communication. The second one is organizational communication, in which the organization uh, communicates with different kind of usually external audience, like investors, like public shareholders, financial journalists, analysts, regulators, legislators. So these are external audience. The organization has to communicate, establish communication. Hmm. Here also the objective is to run the organization effectively and efficiently. Hmm. So this kind of communication doesn't generate sale. The objective is not to generate sale, but to create an environment in which the organization can operate efficiently. So objective here is to develop long-term relationship with financiers, investors, suppliers, channel partners. Hmm. So hmm. now the third communication is marketing communication. So we can define marketing communication as all forms of communication between an organization and its customers and potential customers that facilitate exchanges by establishing shared meaning with the brand's customers or clients. So it means uh, organization with the objective with the objective to to satisfy customers, to facilitate exchange, to make a sale, to earn profit, they have to communicate with customers and potential customers. Hmm. So they have to establish the shared meaning. So every organization, every product, they have some kind of meaning, and that meaning needs to be communicated through different tools. Like sometimes we advertise, sometimes we use packets in which we communicate. Sometimes we give a demo through which we communicate. So there are many tools through which we communicate, and the ultimate objective is to sell the product, to to facilitate exchange. So that is marketing communication. In the next session we will discuss a little bit more about this marketing communication. So till then, take care. Bye.